Is this on? Is this on? Hey, good morning, real estate people. How are you guys? Good? All right, welcome you guys to the 17th annual East Metropolitan Association of Realtors Super Meeting. It's gonna be super here in Troutdale today. I know a lot of you, we're gonna have a lot of people still coming in the doors, so if you've got someone you're waiting on, text them, say, get in here. We're getting this thing started. My name's Adam B. Arnson. I am a sales executive at Lawyers Title. I've been doing this now for 9 years, which is great. I can't get enough of it. I've been seeing the market when it's at its peak, and of course when we've got a few challenges. But I love what I do, and we've got a lot of our great team members that are here today as well. So thank you from all of us on behalf of Lawyers Title. All right, we have got a collection of 6 really incredible panelists today, each of whom is a president of a real estate organization and are all true leaders. And so I'm looking forward to a very lively discussion about the state of our industry and where these seasoned professionals see us heading. So speaking of seasoned professionals, I'd like to introduce a perennially, easy for me to say, positive person, and here he comes now. He is last year's EMAR president, Mr. Rod Barker. Give him a hand. Woo! Woo! Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Right here, my friend. Here is the mic. And if you feel that carpet on your feet, that's where you need to be.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Hey! I mean, come on in. Why is it quiet out there? Are we at a funeral or something? I mean, they give me 90 seconds here. Let's hear it from the crowd. Come on, give me some. All right, this is super meeting, so let's handle it super. Now, it's been a tough few years. Now, by the way, I'm Rod Barker. I am your District 1 Vice President. Woo! All right, and by the way, this is my guide dog. He guides me around. Can we hear it for Boone? All right. So it's been a tough few years. All of us have had it tough. But you know what? It's 2024. It's time to turn it around. When I say 24, you say when. Are you ready? Ready? All right. 24. 24. 24. Woo! All right, you guys. I love being here. Let's have a super meeting.
Thank you, Rod. Appreciate it. Good to see you as always. He's got the little Ric Flair in him. Woo! Woo! All right, after those inspiring words, I think I'm ready to go run a marathon. So, Mr. Motivation. That wasn't me. Rod Barker. All right. As we transition to our next item, let's remember that every journey does begin with the very first step, or in this case, with our next speakers. We want to welcome up Oregon Realtors National Director Jill Russell and the 2002 and 2018 EMAR President Greg Whistler. Come on up.
Thank you, sir. For you. Oh, it's bright up here.
Oh man, not Greg again, talking about our pack. Oh man. But I brought help. And I'm going to tell you a little secret about Jill. Jill and I have known each other for a long time, but she's running for president-elect for Oregon Realtors this year. So give it up for her, willing to take that risk. Good job, Jill.
Thank you.
Jill, tell us what made you excited about getting involved as an investor in RPAC?
Well, it's I'm going to call it my origin story with RPAC. So in California, we're right on the border. I'm from Klamath Falls, tiny little town. You guys are fabulous up here. We love you. California was going to talk about turning realtors into employees. And unfortunately, we know as California goes, usually Oregon goes and Washington goes. And I didn't want to do this job if I had to work for someone else. So I ended up getting my principal broker's license just to make sure. But then I thought, wait a second. I can't just get my principal broker's license and care about me. I've got to care about everybody. And that's when I knew we had to really invest in our business and look to the future so that we can, handle the legislation that comes around. So I know that they're still talking about turning us into employees at the federal level. This is always fun because they want tax dollars and other things. So it's really important, you guys, just to know that there's things out there that are coming for your business that you don't even know about, and that's why we need to invest in our PAC. So that's why I got rolling, and I'm super excited that this year I get to have my Hall of Fame. So it's a really big deal, and I'm super excited.
Woo-hoo.
How about you, Jeff? What brought you?
I'll go by Jeff, but Greg will work too.
Oh.
Buddy.
Wyron, gosh.
No,
He told me a joke, and then I can't get his name out of my head.
I've been called Brian. I've been called Gary. I've been called lots of other things. High praise.
Oh my gosh,
Called Jeff
so
is high praise to me.
sorry.
No, seriously though, my to use your words, origin story is, I don't remember where it was, but somewhere in my early days as a realtor, I was seeing some information as Oregon Realtors was trying to, well, then Oregon Association of Realtors, but they were saying for every so much that you invest in RPAC, it protects your business this much. And it was usually 10 times whatever I was investing. So if I was investing $50 for the tax credit, I was benefiting my business or my clients by $500. And so it just kind of got me paying attention. And I've always been a little bit interested in politics, just enough to be dangerous. And so the fact that we're building relationships with legislators that are our realtor champions, both at the national, state, and local level, that's just been a big deal to me. So it kind of got me passionate about being a major investor in it. So let's talk about some of the stuff we've done. Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Joe.
I go by just about anything.
Except late for supper. I've not missed a meal. That one I don't go by.
No, and I'm a Beavers fan, so I'm sorry for all you Oregon Ducks out there.
Yeah. We still love you. Go Beavs.
So some of the big wins, just that you guys could be essential employees during the pandemic was a huge deal.
Ooh, yeah.
Huge
Who
deal.
liked working when everybody else's business was shut down? You could still make some money, huh? Mm-hmm. Oregon Realtors did that for you with their help with their legislative partners.
Mortgage interest deduction, they keep coming at us, and they want to take that away. So they tried to take it away for second homes and first homes too. So that's not going to go away. So just know it keeps coming back. It's like a bad penny.
Yeah. Who's ever sold a property that needs flood insurance? Do you like that we, work with our partners at the national level to get that extended every year? Yes, it would be nice if they had a permanent fix, but at least we get a temporary fix that keeps us working with clients whose properties might be in a floodplain.
But just pay attention because it expires on the 22nd of this month. So if you see any calls to action, just please answer those because it's a really big deal. We want to flood all of our legislators and our national senators and all that with help us because we can't close on houses if we can't get flood insurance.
Yeah. How about some stuff at the state level? Whether you're a big fan of our current governor or not, she is very passionate about increasing the housing levels in the state. And so she's been working hard on that, and Oregon Realtors has been working with her and some of our other legislative partners to get that passed, and I believe that they've got that going right now.
Yeah, I think if you saw the last Advocacy Minute, do you guys watch the Advocacy Minutes? Yes. I learned something that people aren't scrolling all the way down, so there's really good information if you watch Ashley or someone else on the video that you scroll down and you can get a ton of information. But Senate Bill 1537 is a housing production bill that we're supporting, and it's heading over to the House for a vote. So they'll keep us up to date on that, Jenny. Well, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, and even when we, aren't doing a lot of stuff or seeing those calls to action, you're influencing the local level too. A portion of what I give as a major investor comes right back to our local area so that we can support city councilors and mayors that are running, and we have several different ones that we support in the different jurisdictions that we're in. And I'll tell you this, even though we may not support a particular candidate, they remember us because they've sat with our governmental affairs committee and interviewed us. I've been stopped a couple of times by ones that we didn't support that wanted to talk to me about why they felt like they deserved our support the next time that they were running for office and stuff like that. So your investment dollars are paying dividends in that the local people are paying attention to who we are as realtors and what we do to support their candidacy, and they're listening to what we have to say, so it's paying dividends.
Well, and a big thing I think we forget to tell you is that I know you've heard the Purple Party. We all get sick of hearing about the Purple Party, but we're about 50-50 supporting candidates on either side.
Yep.
But we want them to support housing-related needs for our clients and for you guys. So just know that this isn't it's a bipartisan, but it's not a partisan issue for us. It's to make sure that you guys can do what you do to the best of your ability every day.
And that our clients can keep using their private property the way that they want to use it. I want to take a moment, and whether you're with EMAR or Klamath County Board of Realtors or with PMAR or wherever you are, if you're a major investor in RPAC, would you stand so we can recognize you? And I'm going to wave my hand, and I know Jill's going to wave her hand. So stand up. Stand up. I know there's several of
Be
you
proud.
here. Come
Thank
on.
you.
Nancy, stand up. I know you're there.
Hey.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do. But we want more. We need more, because it always costs more to get their ear, right? And I probably said this last year, but I hear it often. If you're not at the table talking to them, you're on the menu. So, you know, I invest in Buffini products. I invest in other products to do my marketing and things like that. I consider RPAC an investment in my business because I'm investing in the future of my clients. So if you are out there and you've not been an investor or you want to be an investor, scan the QR code, and it'll take you right to Oregon Realtors page, and you can do a full investment right now. You can do a pledge where you maybe put part down now and you invest monthly. Like, what if you did $500 up front and you did $100 a month, and that would get you to $1,000? Now you're Sterling R, which sounds good. And George will tell you all about how great it is to be a Sterling R, because he's been there for a long, long time. So, but yeah, scan the code and do that. And you know, make it as payments if that fits your budget.
Well, and because I'm here with you guys today, and I kind of forgot to do this in January, I am making my pledge today. So I'm going to put my $1,000 up today. So I hope other people will join me today. And I'm not sick. I just have laryngitis. We went to Alaska. It was cold. It's a whole situation. I sound terrible, but
we'll still accept your payment, even though you have a funny voice.
Money cures a lot of things. So we'd love to have you join us. If you have any questions at all about how it works, please come see Greg or myself or Ashley or Jenny or George, anyone. So we'd love to talk to you about it.
That's it for now. We'll bug them later.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Greg. Or Joe and Jeff, whatever you'd like to be called. I get it. Wyron's, he's a hard guy to get out of your mind sometimes. He's in the minds of many. All right, you guys are going to be coming up in a little bit, but before I introduce our first panelist today, I would like to tell you guys a joke. You guys ready for a joke? This is courtesy Lee Toft. If you guys know Lee, you know the level of jokes he tells. Why did the real estate agent bring a magnifying glass to the showing? To get a look at the property's finer points. Yeah, ba-dum-bum. All right. Let's get to our first panelist tonight, the 2024 Oregon Realtors President, Ashley Fordham. Ashley, come on up.
Yeah, I'm good. Good morning, everybody. Woo! It is a great day to be here. I was here 2 years ago talking to you the exact same thing that Jill and Greg spoke to you about on RPAC. And this time 2 years ago, it was snowing. So I'm grateful that it's a beautiful day. Thank you for having me. I'm Ashley Fordham. I'm your 2024 Oregon Realtors President. And for those of you that know me well, I am a real estate nerd. I love this industry immensely, and it's an honor to serve you in this capacity. I can tell you that my executive committee has been working tirelessly to ensure that you can continue practicing business in a manner that's conducive to the noble profession that we all serve in. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm also a principal broker and owner of a real estate company down in Salem. I also list and sell property, so I'm in the trenches like all of you are. So I understand intimately what it means to be at the forefront of a pivotal paradigm shift and a change in our industry in the way that we communicate our value proposition and the way that we communicate our hearts to our clients. clients. So it's an exciting honor to be here with you all. I'm a mother of 2 children. I love a good cup of coffee, red wine. I'm obsessed with corgis and German shepherds, and I'm excited to talk to you all today about just our industry and the state of things. So that's me in a nutshell.
Awesome, good stuff. And now you know everything about Ashley. All right. Thank you, Madam President, and thank you to Inspired Spaces, by the way, for the nice fine furnishings we have up here. So we like to always feel cozy and professional. Okay, before we meet our next panelist, an opportunity for one lucky audience member, just one of you, to win a prize simply by being the first to answer our trivia question. Now, we're going to have a few of them scattered throughout today, but we're going to go digital this year. So you need to break out your phone. We're not going to have Michelle Bundy over in a corner. I know the answer. Oh, you're over there today. We did that, I think, 2 years ago, and yeah, it was hard for us to see, first of all, who had their hands raised and stuff. We just said, yell it out. Not this year. So we're going digital. Get out your phones. Get ready to text the correct answer to the number above, and I will tell you it's right there, 503-407-1355, all right? By the way, that is Lee's personal cell phone, and you're going to find out really quick if you've been blocked by him or not. All right, so what you're going to want to do, it's multiple choice. What you want to do is just text the letter that corresponds to what you believe is the correct answer, all right? We've got fabulous prizes. We're going to text you back with the first correct answer and then let you know that you've won. Then prior to the next trivia question, we'll reveal the winner as the correct answer so we keep the program moving. All right, this year's trivia questions are sponsored by John Doerr Custom Barn Doors. John Doerr, your gateway to unique hand-built barn-style doors. All right, here we go. Who can you share your RMLS web login with? Transaction coordinator, personal assistant, managing broker, or nobody? All right, you got the correct answer. Lee's phone is going crazy back there. But we will have the answer for you here very soon. But now I suggest you prepare yourselves to give an especially big round of applause for our next panelist, EMAR's own 2024 president, Mr. Jason Gooing. Please give it up.
I thought this was karaoke night. I didn't know we were coming up here. Anyway, I think most of you know me. Lee told me to try to talk as long as possible so we can prepare for the next event there. Jason Gooing with EMAR, current president, and one of the fabulous partners over there at ERA Freeman Associates, who Greg was making fun of because we're going to have the highest attendance, but only by participation. I think we have 80%, 90% of our office here today. Yeah, that's right, they're here. ERA, go ERA. Been doing this for about 32, 33 years, started with ERA. Did a little joint venture over with Haas & Company for about 15 years and back with ERA. And yeah, that's what we're doing now. You asked me to talk a little bit about why I'm with EMAR and the president. Well, it's because I got pushed into doing this. Thank you, Bill Willis and Gene Ice. So it is important that we do get involved. I'm learning more about RPAC. Greg, thank you very much. Jill's over there. I'm learning more about that, and Jenny Pakula is out there somewhere. She's there. You go. Everybody know that Jenny's here, also from Oregon. Sorry, I have to call you out. So if you don't know Jenny, have a chance to meet her. She's kind of an attorney and running backbone of everything having to do with OR realtors. Anyway, I think that's enough from me. Lee, do you need me to keep talking? Yeah, I get the thumbs up, so I'm going to sit down now and let you take it back over.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you, Jason. And now, as promised, we do have a winner for the John Doerr Custom Barn Doors trivia question. Again, the question was, who can you share your RMLS login with? Was it A, B, C, or D? And the answer is D, no one. And the winner is Paige Mulcahy. Am I saying that right, Paige? Yeah, there's Paige right up there. Okay. Congratulations. We will have an award for you down here, and volunteers will be standing by at one moment. And so you will get a fabulous door prize. All right. Now for the second chance to win at John Doerr Original Barn Doors Trivia. Remember, text your message, same number, 503-407-1355. The first correct answer will get a text back from us letting us know, or letting you know, that you've won. All right. What year did Congress first pass the Fair Housing Act? Was it 1964, 1968, 1972, or 1988? I love the music. It is. It's like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? We'll have that answer for you here in just a little bit. And the winner, of course. Okay, without further delay, I'm happy to announce our next panelist, 2024 President of the Western Oregon chapter of the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, or NAREP, Gabriela Mann. Gabriela, come on up.
Okay, I had to tell you this. I'm very nervous. Anyway, but I feel super, really super, goes with the title, super meeting, right? And I feel very powerful with this microphone right here. Feel like my badge if I go to show houses, like pretty cool. Well, you just said, my name is Gabriela Mann. I'm the founding president of NAREP Western Oregon. And if you don't know what NAREP stands for, it's the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. NAREP is by trade the largest association of Hispanic in the country. We have over 40,000 members, over 200 chapters in the country. And the initiative to bring this chapter to Oregon really is dear to my heart. I am an immigrant. I moved to the US in 1996. I was born and raised in Mexico. I came to this country as an adult. So I really had to do a lot of the things that many of you take for granted. So I really value when it takes a lot to be standing in front of you, and it takes a lot to become a homeowner, especially for our communities that are underrepresented. Dear to my heart because in numbers, Hispanics are the largest minority in this state, but yet we represent only 9% of the first lien application for mortgages in Oregon. Being the largest minority by population, we're still the lowest in rates for home ownership. And with that, there is a great opportunity for companies, for realtors, for mortgage, for escrow companies to really become understanding that the numbers are gonna keep getting bigger and bigger. So that's my speech regarding NAREP. About me, I'm married. I have been married almost 28 years. I had to tell you a secret. I'm gonna be 50 years old next month, and they're like, oh my God, can you believe this? I'm gonna be half a century old. And with that, it's like, oh goodness, if I get to live 100 years old, there is not a lot of life left, right? Because it's really relative to the age of the earth and all of that. God, I don't have a lot of time. So therefore, I'm pushing everything, trying to accomplish as much as I can for the next couple of years. I don't know if I'm gonna make it another 50, right? So being married almost 20 years, I had 2 kids, Bella and Nicholas. My daughter is 19, my son is 17, and I also had 2 little puppies that I love them dearly. I told my husband if my backyard was bigger, I will get another dog, but at this point, I don't think it's gonna happen. I have been doing real estate for almost 9 years, licensed in Oregon and Washington. I love what I do. And my point of being here today, and if you're gonna take anything from me today, is that I'm working very hard to really contribute to changing the landscape of Hispanics in the state of Oregon. Landscape and narrative, we need to get caught up with well building, well preservation, and passing well to our next generations. Thank you.
Awesome. Great job, Gabriela. You can just hear the passion coming out of her voice. You rocked it, girl. Good job. All right, now without further delay, and winner of the last trivia question, again, what year did Congress first pass the Fair Housing Act? Was it 1964, 1968, 1972, or 1988? The correct answer is B, 1968. Yep. Kim Fentress, where are you? Woo! Come on down. You're the next. No, I always wanted to be a game show host. That might be my next calling in life. Congratulations, Kim. That's great. Okay. Now a third chance to win a prize and individual glory. Remember, same number, 503-407-1355. All of you should add that number to your contacts and just blow Lee Toff's phone up. I'm telling you. All right, the first correct response, going to get a text back and let you know that you've won. Again, once again, sponsored by John Doerr Original Barn Door. In RMLS Web, what is the withdrawn status? Is it A, a listing under contract, not currently being shown, a listing that has a voided contract, a listing that is very private, or a listing that has shy owners? Anyone? Answer that and then text that to Lee, and we will get that to you at the end of next inspection period or something close to it. Okay, but right now I've got the pleasure to introduce our next panelist, the 2024 Women's Council of Realtors President in the Greater Portland area. That is Rochelle Newmeyer. Rochelle, come on up.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Rochelle Newmeyer, as you just mentioned, but a lot of people in our industry call me Rash. No, it's not because I have one, but my name is spelled R-A-S-H-E-L-L-E. So if it's easier for you to call me Rash, feel free to do so. I am the president of the Women's Council of Realtors Portland chapter, and we are trying to grow. Yeah, where are all my Women's Council gals in the house? Woo! So we are trying to grow across the state. So if there is a need in your area that you would like to see a network pop up, we're working on Klamath, Salem, and the coast. So we would love to see more volunteering and more participation and growing women in our industry and in leadership positions specifically. One of the reasons I got involved with Women's Councils because it was an avenue for me to help our industry. Collaboration over competition every day is how I feel about us and our industry. So if you're not interested in Women's Council, there are so many other great groups like NAREP, the Realists, the LGBTQ plus community, ARIA. So there's some really great ones, and Oregon Realtors, EMAR, PMAR, YCAR. Just get involved at any level, and you can get involved just by volunteering for like an event like this, like setting up a table, or eventually then like leadership too if you want. So that is my spiel. Do you need me to keep talking? I have a mom of one. She's 8. She's hilarious. If you follow me on social media at Realtor Rochelle, you'll see all her funny videos. And yeah, I think we're good to have a winner.
Good job.
Yeah, okay.
You're going to be doing plenty of talking through the course of the program today. So thank you, Rochelle. All right. We do have one more trivia question for you. However, it will not be the last opportunity for you guys to win prizes and glory. After the panel discussion concludes, we're going to be raffling off the prizes that you've seen and admired out there throughout the entire hallway. But now, as promised, the answer to the previous trivia question. Can I get that music again, please? It just does it. In RMLS Web, what is the withdrawn status? Is it A, a listing under contract not currently being shown? B, a listing that has a voided contract? C, a listing that is very private? Or D, a listing that has shy owners? The correct answer is A listing under contract. There you go. Okay, the winner is Cecilia Zepeda. Cecilia, where you at? Over here. Okay, you don't have to come up yet, but please just know you will have. Oh, you do have we do have your fabulous door prizes. Kim, we'll get you guys both. Not the first one? You already handled that. Okay, awesome. And Mary, right? Yes, correct. Give it up for Mary, you guys. Mary's going to be working hard volunteering here. Help us out. There you go. Okie dokie. We are moving on to test your knowledge of East County trivia. One final time today, we've got this last trivia challenge for you, all right, at least for now. Again, same number, text it to. If yours is the first correct answer, you're going to get a return text. Let's hope for it. All right, this is the blank annual EMAR super meeting. Is it A, the 3rd, B, 17th, C, 18th, or D, 19th? If you guys were here when we started, I said it right off the top. See if you guys can remember that. All right, we're going to get back to that shortly and reveal the winner. However, at this moment, I am pleased to announce our next panelist, the Home Builder Association of Greater Portland Board President, Mr. Jeremy Osterholm. Jeremy.
Hello. Thank you for having me today. I'm Jeremy Osterholm. I'm a second-generation home builder, Ostercraft Homes, and I also own 1915 Excavation. an excavation firm. We started a couple years ago. And I'm the current board president of the Home Building Association of Greater Portland. I've been doing this for 30 years this June. I started building, so quite a while. I've probably met a lot of realtors in this room, and I'm looking forward to meeting more of you. I'm a father of 2 beautiful girls and been married almost 25 years, and I am an Oregon State fan, so I heard Go Beavs earlier. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me. I'm not as energetic as some of these people up here so far. You guys are amazing. I need to maybe have an extra cup of coffee today. So, but thanks again for having me.
Thank you, Jeremy. Hey, I grew up on the Oregon coast, and there were a lot of Osterholms down there. So you're Scandinavian. What country?
Sweden.
Sweden, okay. Icelandic over here.
There we go.
All right, good. Any other Scandinavians in the crowd? You can give it up for yourself. Yeah, good. That's what we do here in the Northwest. All right, now let's reveal the answer to the final John Doerr Custom Barn Door trivia question. Is it, which year are we in the EMAR Super Meeting? Is it the 3rd, the 17th, 18th, or 19th? Survey says, yep, B, 17th. 17 years we've been doing that, and the winner is Annie Lee. Annie, come on up. We've got a fabulous door prize over here for you. $1 million. All right, now I have the distinct privilege to introduce our final panelist. He's also going to be our moderator tonight, along with many other illustrious titles. He is serving as the panel moderator tonight. He is so good, he's already on his way up. You know him, he is a man who
Greg
loves...
Whistler.
He loves muscle cars and long walks on the beach. He is Mr. Jeff Wyron, the president from Premier Property Group. Jeff, welcome.
Thank you. What a great panel. We're going to have a lot of fun today. But first, can you put the slide back up that has Lee's phone number on it, please? Seriously, I'm not joking. I have made a personal commitment just in the 15 minutes that I've been watching this that every Friday night after a few beers, I'm going to text the most random crap to Lee Toft. I hope you'll join me, please. All right. I think you all know who I am, and I'm really excited to just get right into the panel discussion. So this is the most comfortable stage furniture I think I've ever sat on. It's wonderful. We're going to dive in, and we're going to talk about some of the things affecting your business right now. We have a great leadership crew here to go over that and talk about how that's working its way through in each of their associations and in their businesses as well. What I want to start with is just saying that if you have questions about the lawsuits, I don't want to spend the whole time talking about what's going on with the lawsuits. If you have not gone to the NAR website, nar.realtor, if you go to nar.realtor and you click on latest news, there's tons of information there about what's going on with the lawsuits, and I would encourage you to do that. So we'll hit that a little bit, and what I would ask is that if there's anything going on specifically in your associations that stand out as to something you're doing relative to the national lawsuits that we're all dealing with, feel free to talk about that, okay? But other than that, I think we'll let NAR be the resource for all of you. So I'm going to start with Ashley. What's the future of leadership look like in our industry and our associations, and what strategies can be implemented in the future?
Oh, that's a loaded
Softball.
question. Softball, yeah, you just teed it right up.
Right, absolutely.
Okay, well, I'm really excited about that question because I think the future of our leadership looks incredibly diverse, truly. I mean, look at this representation of this panel here. Like, we have so much expertise coming into these individual associations that are sharing their hearts and their wealth of knowledge with all of you every single day. But furthermore, I think that what's incredibly pivotal at this moment in time is for us to simplify some of the messages of the things that we all do to serve you and our industry and our clients. And so I think that the opportunity for leadership is to pull more diversity into our volunteer spheres and bringing in a wealth of knowledge of territories and experience and cultures, and just level up that communication and open up those doors to make way for those people. Additionally, I think it's really important that the people that are serving in these roles understand the business that we do. Now more than ever, if you're not really in the trenches and you're not listing and selling property, if you're not communicating all the time, you don't feel the shifts before they're quantitated in data. And I think we need the best, the brightest, the most fearless leaders that we can possibly get to sit at the table and have really tough conversations about the direction of this industry. So I would say that those are the simplest things that I could shake up and hit out of the park to sort of expect changes in our leadership, really.
Great response. Thank you. Same question to you, Jason.
Oh, wow. Can I just say ditto? No, I think we need to look at, kind of a funnel type thing where you have the macro and the micro look at things. And, Ashley talking about the macro, we need leadership from the top down. Absolutely. From the micro standpoint, I think it's crucial that we remember that even though we have all this technology, and those that know me well know I'm a technology geek. I love it. I have to have the newest and greatest of all times. My family, kids make fun of me all the time. My wife bears with me. But the real grassroots, what we need to do, the micro part of it, we need to talk to people. We need to get face-to-face with individuals. And unless you're sitting eyeball to eyeball, belly to belly with somebody, you're not going to do the business that we need to do. And it doesn't mean that we can't do business virtually, and we can use technology to help with that. But I think that the more advanced we get in technology, the more crucial it becomes that we do what we're doing here right now, even realtor to realtor. We used to have luncheon meetings here with EMAR. We used to get together and actually meet people face to face and know who you're dealing with across from the table. So you have the public side of things, but you also have the realtor side of things. If I know somebody that I'm making an offer to, I guarantee that there's some difference, some benefit that I can present to my clients because I know the individual across the table from me that I'm competing with. And so I think from the macro, the overall site, we do need leaders. We need people to step up. And sometimes stepping up is out of your comfort zone. But on the other side of it, we need to just remember what we're doing this for. Mm-hmm. And we're doing this to help the people, help the public. And guess what? Everybody in this room gets paid very well to help the public. No matter how that looks, we get paid very well. If I'm not doing the business that I want to do, it's because I'm not talking to enough people.
Great response. I've always felt that if you want to see change in the industry, if you're not happy about how something is, if you don't like a certain form, if you don't like a certain rule and regulation of your MLS, then get involved, right? You guys are all here today, and that's a big step towards being involved in the industry, and all of you as leaders in the industry have really stepped up too. So I also really like your point about the benefit that you get in that leadership, the opportunity to really develop relationships with people who are going to be across the table from you in a negotiation, and it's incredibly valuable to do that. So Jeremy, that tees up a great question for you. What's the greatest value that you've received from being involved in industry leadership?
How long do I have?
Take as long as you would like.
I mean, for starters, I got invited to this deal today, and there's literally hundreds of leads that I'll get out of this, meeting people and shaking hands and meeting all these fine people here. That doesn't happen unless I get involved. I got involved with the HBA about 8 years ago and on the board level. I've been a member for years, but I got in the board level about 8 years ago and finally jumped into the chairs. But it wasn't until I got into that boardroom the first time and sat with 35 of my peers, industry peers, and realized how much of a common goal we had for the industry, how much information I was missing that was getting sent to me in my email and in my mail every week that I just I'll get to that later. And you don't have time for later. It always gets put aside. But when you're in that boardroom and you're focused, you're getting that information. And then the next month I get the mail and I'm like, oh, hey, we talked about this last month on the board. They've been sending me this stuff all along. I didn't even realize it. So just having the knowledge and getting involved, and then the connections are countless. I've walked into rooms on deals that I thought I was going to lose, that I should have probably lost, but when they found out I was with the HBA, it made a connection that couldn't be replaced, and I sealed the deal. It was it just did a complete 180. So it's invaluable. I couldn't have done anything better for my career than to get involved in leadership.
Good response. So, Gabriella, I'm going to come to you and ask, in a profession that's constantly changing, what's one thing that you would offer as a piece of advice for folks to be able to create a sustainable and consistent business?
That was not in my list of questions. Just kidding, just kidding. I think for some realtors, the last few years, because where the interest rates have been, it has been pretty easy. I mean, real estate has come like a natural thing. And many times we forget that really foundation to what we are doing is lead generation. And we forget to do that. I think we are going to go through years of a lot of changes. Honestly, I think we had oversaturation of realtors, and that is going to change. And we had to get better at really presenting our value proposition, the story. We had to learn to articulate why we are here, why we deserve that paycheck, especially for the years to come in which, it's going to be required to have a buyer agreement. So we need to improve our skills. Education, education, education. I mean, for the years to come, triple, quadruple, fifth time, the exponential, getting better, and don't forget your lead gen.
That's great. Great response. Same question to you, Rochelle, and I know that you have a lot of marketing experience, especially digitally. So maybe talk about that from that perspective.
Yeah, so before I was in this industry, my previous life, I was a corporate digital marketer. So when I came into this industry, I brought that skill set with me, but I changed it in the fact that when you're selling for a large corporation, you're selling like, isn't this a nice vase? You need this vase, versus can you picture this in your life, and selling more the story behind it. I think that's in real estate, we get away from that sometimes. We're so quick to be like, sold in 2 days, 50 over, blah, 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 I'm a show pony. Instead of like, this couple just got their first home and they're gonna raise their baby in it and it's gonna be amazing. And they grew up in this town and they're back for the first time in 20 years and blah, that's so much different. So fall in love with what you're doing as far as serving your clients and educating your clients also, but and sharing that, right? Instead of just like, look at me. We're the only industry that shows, I did this today. Like, a dentist isn't like, 5 cleaning, I did that. Or a hairdresser is not like, I cut 12 people's hair today. So sometimes it makes us look unprofessional, that all we're doing is showboating. So I say talk more about your clients, what you're doing in the community, stuff like this. And also, if we're not educating our clients on issues that will impact them as homeowners, back to the RPAC stuff a little bit, if we're not the ones educating them, somebody else is, and they might be educating them with false information. But if they're like, oh, you know what? I follow Ashley, and she's even the president of Oregon Realtors, and she said this, I'm probably gonna vote this way because she's actually doing it every day versus Tiny Tim on the corner yelling, vote this, and they have like no real estate experience. So I think you can really use social media to be genuine and connect. And social media started, think of the term, right? Social. It's actually a tool to be social. It's another way to engage with your client. If you don't have time to door knock every day, pop into DMs and just say, oh my gosh, your barbecue this weekend looked amazing. It's just another way to connect with your clients without always hopping in the car.
That's great. Those are great responses. And I'm going to pick up a little bit on what you said, Gabriella, about prospecting. And I think no matter what changes happen in the industry, no matter what it looks like, that's the name of the game, right? We're in a prospecting business, and that's one of the key reasons why agents don't last in this business. They don't prospect. They're not comfortable calling the people they don't know. They're not comfortable calling the people they do know, which begs the question, who do they plan to sell real estate to? Right? Seriously, prospecting is the name of the game, and some very fun and creative ways to do that. Certainly active in phone calls and really reaching out to people and connecting with them person to person and face to face, but leveraging social media. I recently heard that it's almost more important what you do on social media in liking and commenting on other people's posts than what you yourself post. And that was very insightful for me to pick up on that I don't have to go and post a big story or a brag about myself. If I spend 10 minutes on Facebook liking all of my client stuff and making comments about their pictures of their kids, that entrenches that relationship even more so.
Yeah, well,
Great
just
advice.
a quick social media fact. The algorithms only show you 10% of who you're connected with. So even if it's your personal Facebook page, and let's say you have 100 friends, it only shows your stuff to 10 people. And how the algorithm chooses those 10 people is, who are you tagged in pictures with, who are you commenting with, or who's engaging with you? Well, a lot of times those 10 people are your parents, your kids, other agents, like cute listing, so if you want to get in front of your whole sphere, you actually do need to go into your friend list or go into your followers list and click on them and be like, oh, I haven't commented on Greg's post in a while. Hey, Greg, that looks amazing. Because then it tricks the algorithm too to bring people you don't see every day that you don't necessarily need to get in front of back into your own feed, if that makes sense
great.
for everybody.
Yeah, that's great advice. Okay, so I'm going to kick one back to you, Ashley, about significant legislation in Salem that's going to affect our local real estate industry, because I think you have some big wins to tell us about from what Oregon Realtors has been able to accomplish in this short legislative session.
I have to say I'm incredibly proud of the team at Oregon Realtors. We have an amazing advocacy team. Jenny has put together literally the home run of people advocating on your behalf. So we do have a couple of really, really big wins. The first I want to tell you about is House Bill 4058, which was sponsored by Vicki Breeze-Iverson and Mark Meek. And it is really encapsulating three really big things that are hitting our industry across the state. The first is the 40-year right to list listing agreements. I'm sure you probably have seen those in your marketplace. So we've limited those listing contracts to 24 months and eliminated the right for them to buy a listing right. Okay, so that's really exciting. So that was really impacting senior citizens. We were backed by AARP. We had a number of other really large companies and corporations that really were sponsoring that bill, and we're very excited about that. So that's fantastic. The second thing is wholesaling. I'm sure you have wholesaling up here in the Portland metro area.
No, it never happens here.
No. But we have put some parameters around wholesaling. It's not that we want to eliminate that practice, but what we want to do is make sure that you're registered with the state and you've got some parameters around that activity. Appropriate disclosure so that consumers are not harmed in that process. Making sure that those wholesalers are registering with the agency so that they can track and be responsible for those individuals. And then last but not least, of course, is our buyer representation agreements. So this House Bill 4058, they will be mandatory as of January 1st, 2025. So all of those three things encompassed in that House bill passed the House and the Senate. So it is awaiting the governor's signature, and it's an incredible win for our industry and for clarification. I know we're not going to talk about the lawsuits, but really what our clients and consumers are asking of us is choice and clarity. And that bill is such a huge win for us as professionals to ensure that we are leveling up that communication and putting some parameters on some of the bad behavior that was not being disclosed in our industry and was wreaking havoc on our consumers. So I'm very excited about that. In addition, we had a couple of other things. The governor's bill, which we kind of touched on, we were a big proponent and supporter of that to ensure that we can get some more housing, which we're probably going to talk about the urban growth boundary here today, but it's important that we make sure that we have the infrastructure to continue to build. We have an amazing state, and we should have enough opportunities for people to purchase property. That is the fundamental dream. We've got to make sure that it's affordable and equitable for everybody across our incredible state. The last and final thing that I'll touch on is the first-time homebuyer savings plan, which was actually a House bill from 2018 that we are working really closely with to make sure that we expand that to different banks and credit unions so that it's accessible to everyone. So I'm really excited about the advocacy wins that we've had, which is why your RPAC dollars are so incredibly crucial. So if you haven't received your link yet, it should be in your inbox. Check your spam. Our advocacy team is, man, they are on it. Jenny, our CEO, has had lunch with the governor to help just establish relationships. And the fact that we've got 3 incredible bills that are advocating for you as an industry, but also your clients and consumers is just a home run. So I'm super, super excited by that progress, and you should be too.
Awesome. A lot of great stuff going on at the state level, and I think this has been a really good short session for us, clearly. So relative to the buyer representation agreements, I'd encourage you to write this website down, OregonRealtors.org/BBA. And if you all look every Friday diligently, I'm sure, when you get the email from Oregon Realtors with the weekly update, they sent out something last week that was a resource page, a resource guide for how to talk about compensation with your clients. Fantastic tool. There's a lot more of those tools and some really good best practices on OregonRealtors.org/BBA or / or whatever. Try a slash, and if it doesn't work, try the other one.
Any slash.
Yeah, any slash. Great resource for you. So thank you for that. I want to come back to you, Jeremy, and talk about some of that legislation in maybe opening up some of the urban growth boundaries or letting cities and jurisdictions make that decision. How do you see that actually helping us create some inventory? Do you see what's happening on the desk of our current governor actually bringing us some inventory that you can build on?
I do. I agree this was a good short session for all of us in the industry. I think this helps the smaller cities quite a bit more than the bigger cities. People on the outskirts where they're tight, on where they can grow, and they can go in and add 100 acres in on a one-time exemption. And they can do that every 10 years without having to go to Metro. This is a Metro cycle year, so they are voting here in a couple months on what they're going to do. We'll see. They came and spoke to us here at our last board meeting. But I think that there's some good things in there for the urban growth boundary. I think that there's some opportunities with the infrastructure part of that bill, where, again, smaller cities, Damascus is a good example of that. If they would have had that money a few years ago, who knows what would have happened out there. They just didn't have the infrastructure to grow. They're already in the UGB. They just needed the infrastructure. This bill provides some of that money, and we'll see what happens in some of these outskirt areas. A lot of great positives in the bill, in my opinion.
Yeah, very excited about that. And I hope that some of the changes will be able to create the opportunity for us to bring some inventory on sooner, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 36-month cycle.
Well, and here's the thing. So I don't know if everybody knows or not, but the governor put a panel together of about 22 people in the industry, and it was only industry people. They excluded the cities and counties from the panel. It was builders, developers, realtors, engineers, architects, everybody from the industry. We had 4 represented from the HBA on that board to get our opinion, going to the source of housing and wanting to know, hey, what do you all see in housing? I don't want to ask the city what they think. I want to ask the industry people what they think. We've not had a voice like that before, and so that was reassuring just off the get-go. Short session, next year's long session, I talked to Oregon HBA President Justin Wood. They're already invited back. The panel's coming back next year. So they're going to be able to gauge what's happening in the bills that are being signed this week, in next year's session, and be able to pick up and run.
Awesome. That's very exciting. All right, I'm going to switch gears, and I'm going to kick one to you, Jason, about AI and how that's affecting our industry. And if you're using AI and what you're doing with it, and you should try this. You can write your own country song with AI, can't you?
Ask Greg. You can even put hair on a ball.
You know what you get when you play a country song backwards, don't you? Yeah, you get your house back, you get your dog back, you get your car back, all of those things. Truck back, not car, truck. So are you using AI, Jason? And if so, how are you using it?
Somewhat. I kind of jumped on the bandwagon when it first came out. Eric Post, a good friend of ours, is creating something called Whoosy that we're trying to work in with that as well. I think what we're seeing with AI, though, and goes back to what we were talking about earlier, too. We kind of have to be still person to person with it. And when AI first came out, Gina experimented, I believe, with one of her commentaries on a listing. And it did a pretty doggone good job, just give you the basic details, and it kind of wrote it all out. Well, now that we're starting to see that, it's kind of becoming more generic. They're all sounding somewhat the same. So I don't know if anybody realizes, if you want to write a book today and become a published author, you can just go onto AI and you can tell them a little story, and it'll write a story for you. The irony is it's going to sound like a million other stories the same, right? So you're still going to have the uniqueness. No one's going to be a Stephen King using AI. I don't think somebody's going to be another, Jeff Wyron or Jerry or anything by using AI. It's a tool. Is it something we should be afraid of? I'm not going to get a chip and talk to Elon and have him program my brain right yet. I'm not too excited about that. I think we need parameters and filters and regulations on it. But AI is here. Anybody out there do any kind of photography or video manipulation? If you've ever tried to use Photoshop and haven't had a college education, it can be fairly intimidating. You can now go onto Photoshop and use AI and just say, hey, I want to remove this, I want to do this, and I want to have it look like this, and it'll do it for you. You don't like it, you hit next, you hit next, you hit next. So AI is a tremendously valuable, and that's just the bare minimum of it.
Yeah.
But it can also help you find prospects and clients. And I think the title companies, we're blessed to have many, many good title reps and companies in our area, so that's all fantastic and fine. They're using AI as well. You want a list of people that are going to be most likely to list? Title companies can provide that. Again, it goes back to the more people that use it, the more generic, ironically, it becomes. And so I don't know that that's the answer you want to see, or not that you want to see anything in particular, but in general, I don't think AI is going to have as much of an impact on it as we fearfully believe it may. You want to talk military and all that kind of stuff, that's a whole different conversation. But I don't think in our industry it's going to be as impactful as it potentially could have been when it first came out.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I'll pick up a little bit on what you just said. I think the reason for the question is there's a lot of fear about it from a lot of people too. But it's a very powerful tool.
Absolutely.
You have to know how to use it, but it's a very powerful tool. Fortunately, we're only using it for the application of selling houses instead of a military purpose, right?
Well,
but you have to understand it, and I think instead of being afraid of it or ignoring it or not worrying about it, really, getting yourself educated and understanding it so that you can leverage the tool that it is for you, because it is.
Well, and absolutely, and one more thing to add to it. I think one of the things that we may start to see is now, we all know we have 2 sets of forms now we can choose from. It's going to evolve, and it's already in process, to where we don't even need to understand the forms we're using. We're just going to say, okay, Ashley, you want to buy a house, you and your husband, you want to offer $400,000. It's going to actually prompt you, this AI, to ask the questions of how we want to fill out this offer for agreement.
Right.
And then you just say, okay, that's done, and you hit one button, and it's going to print out the 20, 30, 40, 50,000 forms that we need to have, and just have your client sign here. How are we representing our clients by doing that?
Yeah.
How are we representing the public by just having them sign documents that AI can fill out? And that's what the competition, meaning people who don't like realtors, is going to try to promote. Why do we need a realtor? We can just fill out a real estate form. We can just fill out a transaction. Absolutely, you can. But how do you take care of the person? How do you take care of the transaction? AI cannot replace us.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing for us to remember, that AI is a powerful tool, and it's going to go a long ways, but it doesn't have to intimidate us in what we do and how we manage our business.
Absolutely. Great response.
Can I chime in? Real quick?
Absolutely, please.
For Whoosy, too. So one cool thing about it, as a tool, if you want to use it as a tool, it can't replace us. You're right. But Whoosy, you can upload your CC&Rs and say, can a chicken coop go in this backyard? And it'll search the CC&R for you, so you're not like, Jesus, I don't know, like freaking out. And it'll be like, yep, page 8, clause B, chicken coops allowed, or whatever. So then you can tell your clients, yep, right here in the CC&Rs, chicken coops allowed. And it didn't take, an hour of you searching through it, trying to figure out. So that's a way it can be a super powerful tool, as a time saver.
Yeah.
And just to add to that, it's another tool. In my experience, it has made my work a little bit easier for all the features and options we have. For example, ChatGPT is my best friend when I need, her to help me to compose, descriptions of what have you. So it's another thing to really spend the time in the things that matter the most and make our other 80% that is not as meaningful to have another piece of support that we have, so we can focus on the things that are the bigger things, which is to serve our clients.
Yeah, spending more face time with the actual person.
Right.
There's a theme here. There's a theme.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
We're in the people business.
So back to you, Gabriella. What skills and talents do you think are going to be most important for realtors to master over the next 5 years? Or heck, even over the next year would be fine.
I mean, I said earlier, we really had to focus on, there is a couple of things here. I think the affiliation, the companies or the brokerage that you are going to be, or you are associating with, is really important. You want to be with brokerage that has the tools, the systems, the people in place to support you. Like I said before, I feel that this industry has been oversaturated for so long. So we just need to really skill up, to keep learning, becoming very educated on what we are doing and why we are doing, and learning to articulate our message with, again, the home buyer representation. Get comfortable with that because it's going to stay here. It's not going to go away. And if you are not already getting to understand why and what had happened, how we got to this, so you can communicate that to your clients, is going to be more and more difficult. Increasing transparency with everything that we are doing, in everything we do, how we present ourselves, and just being that source of information for our buyers and sellers. We don't have all the answers, but we can guide our clients the right directions when they have questions.
Good response. How we doing on time, Lee? We're doing all right? Good. Okay, great. So what is your greatest concern about what's happening in our industry today, Rochelle?
Well, I mean, it's kind of clear based on what's going on nationally, the lack of education that some agents have, and then the lack of transparency is what got us into the position that we're in. So one of my concerns is, how are we changing that, right? Which obviously isn't an issue with anyone in this room, because if you're in this room, you care about education and you care about knowing what's going on within the industry. But how do we take what we learned from this room today outside, right? To our brokerages, to our friends in the industry, to new agents that maybe don't have mentors yet. Like, how do we help guide them and make sure that they're representing all of us well in anything that they're doing? Because at the end of the day, that's what happens. It just takes one agent to do something that they just maybe didn't even know what they were doing was illegal or wrong or not as transparent as they were supposed to be. And now we're all like in the spotlight, right? So how do we work? Again, collaboration over competition is how we all succeed. So how do we continue to work as a community to, one, change the image of what's happening to us right now? We do provide value. We can't be replaced by AI. There's so much more than opening a door, what goes on. And how do we communicate that and build that with each other? So my concern is not enough of us, right, out there. So also, how do we get other people like us in this room that really care about this to share the story and also educate?
Great response. Elevating the overall level of professionalism for the industry, which I've been in real estate 20 years this year and been involved in leadership for most of that, and that's been the common theme throughout my whole leadership experience. Same question to you, Ashley.
There's a lot to unpack in that question.
You get one response.
One response.
I'm kidding. Take as much time you want.
There's so many things that I could say. Tag teaming onto what Rochelle said, I think education, first and foremost, the way we communicate our professionalism and our value. We are so much more than door openers and people that find houses for people on the internet. I mean, the way that we communicate our value proposition has to be so clear that we cannot be misunderstood. And I think that the news media is one of our biggest threats to this industry right now. If you're a subscriber to Inman or Riz Media or any of the other media outlets out there that love to just talk about our industry, it's so fascinating because without us, they don't have anything to talk about. But yet they're so eager to throw bullets and circle the wagons and shoot inward, which is so interesting to me. But this is the most incredible industry, and these people in this industry are some of the most incredible humans that I've ever met. And we have such a unique opportunity to sit across from people at their kitchen table, and they welcome you into their home, and they're asking you to help them get to the finish line. And tell me that there's not a more noble act of service. I mean, you are inviting people into their families and lives, and like it's just so the media, I think, is the biggest threat that we have to our industry. And we combat that by being who we genuinely are. And we combat that with this level of professionalism and communication that you just can't beat. And I think that it's on all of us to show up differently and to speak differently and to learn more and to be so knowledgeable that our value is never questioned. Because what we do is challenging. And we know that we're more than just opening doors, and we know that we're more than just putting a listing on MLS or finding a house on the internet. You know, what we do is just incredibly noble, and we've got to make sure that we change that narrative. And we cannot let the news media define who we are, really, is what it comes down to. We just need to be so committed to that thought process and that communication that you can't argue it.
Yeah, good, yes.
For me, affordability we are in a housing crisis. We cannot deny that, and for me, that's really the biggest challenge. If how is possible that a family that has a household income of 100, 110, 120,000 a year cannot afford to be a homeowner?
Right.
So it seems that we have the lowest levels of affordability that we had seen in decades, and that is no longer sustainable. It's going to aggravate the problem of really housing and people with a homelessness even bigger and bigger. So affordability will continue to me to be the biggest really concern that I have, and especially communities of minorities to become a homeowner. I wrote an offer the other day on a competitive offer. The house got 7 offers, and neither the listing agent nor the seller understood what it meant, first-time home buyer assistance. So just get that. I mean, it was a pretty qualified buyer. I mean, for me, that will be the buyer I want my seller to take the offer, because not only is pre-approved by the lender, but by this institution in which it took them a whole year to get pre-qualified, to get through training, financial education, and my price was the highest, and we had pretty good terms, just the lack of knowledge from that end. So affordability, I hope that we can, anytime that you need contribution from realtors, to sit down at the table with you to really brainstorm and see how we can do something, because it's quite serious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're looking at you.
Yeah, I know. I feel the
Build us more houses, will you?
Yeah, no.
You have all the answers.
You have all the answers.
Well, yeah, sure I do. Let me get my crystal ball back here. Yeah, of course, more houses helps with affordability. And we're doing everything we can to push to be able to do that right now. Obstacles we also have is with just our current inventory is permit fees.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm. The red tape that we have to do on a permit. In Happy Valley right now, a building permit is $70,000 for an average home.
Before you break ground.
Before I put a shovel in the ground, I'm paying about $70,000.
Yep.
I predict in some of these cities in the next 3 to 5 years, that's going to be $100,000 before we put a shovel in the ground. So it's hard to make affordable when we keep having the fees go up on us every year.
Yeah.
And it's the SDCs for everything from parks to sewers and water and the works. I mean, yes, we need all of these things. And I'm hoping that some of this infrastructure bill helps some of that, and so that they'll kind of slow down on the SDC raising on us. But I hear the affordability. I've built affordable homes in my career. It's very difficult to do right now.
Yeah.
The other part of that, one other thing is workforce development.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We're short on labor,
Yeah.
big time.
Yep.
And I know through our foundation, we're doing a lot of workforce development programs, and we're trying to build it in the high school level and trying to get people active. It's a great career for a kid coming out of high school to jump right into with zero debt, get into the trades, learn something. I still walk in a room and people think I'm a young guy in the industry, and I'm not. I've been around here 30 years.
Yeah.
So that's bad when they think somebody's been around that long as a young guy in the industry.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
So those are great points. All right, so that's the doorbell. That means we have time for some audience questions. Is that right, Lee? Okay, great. I love that doorbell chime. That's fantastic. So we'll open it up. Does anybody in the audience have anything they want to throw at our amazing panel? And we have a question right here from Greg Whistler.
Thank you, Greg. My question, Jason, you talked a little bit about AI, and I agree with you. We need to kind of play with it and be a little bit familiar and understand. But one of the things that I had an agent show me in one of our meetings was AI voice-assisted conversations where they're soliciting for listing leads and stuff like that to help an agent out. And what we heard in the call was this AI voice that was pretending to be from Brand X Realty and calling on what happened to be a listed property and saying, oh, our agent team usually has 2 to 12 offers by this time in our marketing of a property in your neighborhood. Why doesn't yours? It was it kind of felt subversive of the listed property and kind of a violation of code of ethics and other things. How do we manage that? And you may not have the answer. Maybe this is a
I have an answer.
OR, but but yeah, how do we manage that with people that are not licensed realtors doing these businesses that are supposed to be a benefit for us?
First of all, it's a great question. It's a great concern. I mean, even from a individual safety standpoint, right? We talk about safety and train on safety and whatnot. You know, people can imitate your relatives. And so we can have a whole other conversation about what you should be doing with your family and preparing your friends and whatnot for that. But they just passed a law, I believe on the federal level, that's going to change all of those marketers. So you're paying for these leads, not you necessarily, but generically, companies are paying for these leads, teams are paying for these leads. They just made it where now you cannot cold call, even if they're not on the do not call registry, if I understand the bill correctly, they cannot cold call anybody unless they have their permission to do said phone call. So somebody has to opt into those phone calls. So a lot of that AI, which is what come up, is going to be eliminated as a concern because it's not going to be legal regardless of whether they're licensed or not. So is it a concern right now? Yeah, and I think other areas are going to have more concerns than others. We have no jurisdiction over somebody or a company that's not licensed in real estate. They don't have to follow our laws, but they're more susceptible to the do not call list than maybe even realtors are. And now that do not call list, if it stands, and again, as I understand it, subject to somebody who really knows what they're talking about educating us, they're not even going to be able to make those phone calls without having it be a warm call first, meaning that the end user has given them permission to follow up. So did that answer that, Greg?
Can I tag on that too?
Please.
That goes back to also educating. So if we're not telling that story ahead of time and getting ahead of it, so that's a great social media post, because it's not just about real estate. I know of somebody that thought Discover Card called them, and it wasn't Discover Card, and they answered all their security questions, because Discover Card was like, hey, are you so-and-so? Did you just try to spend money in Georgia? And they're like, no. And they're like, okay, can you just tell me your PIN really quick? Let's get you restarted. Well, really, it was a scammer, but the person didn't know. Yeah. And then their Discover Card got loaded up with charges because this person had all their info. So again, it goes back to educating, and if you have a listing, maybe just tell your clients too, just so you know, we've seen a trend going on a little bit. You might get a call from a brokerage that says they could get you XYZ offers. If you have any questions, just call me. Sometimes it's a scam, sometimes it's a real person, but just to make sure you know exactly who you're talking to, just call me and I can tell you who they are, what they are, or if it was legit. And if you just get ahead of it, then when they get that call, they'll be like, my realtor told me you were going to call. And then they don't engage with them in that way.
That's great.
May I just
Go ahead.
add to it?
It's a hot question.
I'm going to
Great question.
play devil advocate here. I actually look into that, and the cost is too much for a realtor at my point for a few reasons. And I think there is ways that you can actually use it and you can benefit depending of what is your business plan and what is that you are trying to accomplish. We know unlicensed person cannot call to solicit business. But in our business, there is great opportunity. I mean, the other challenge I had is that they had to mimic your voice. And it's quite challenging for someone like me because I have an accent. And it's true. So trying to really...
Accent?
I know, what?
You didn't notice that? So trying to mimic the voice in a way that sounds pretty similar to me is not quite. But I think really you look into it for the right reasons, depending on, again, what is that you are trying to accomplish, that can be great benefit. So I can see that for big teams, they are in big production, that they can really leverage out of that.
What I find amazing with all of this AI conversation is if you call any major utility, any major governmental agency, or your healthcare provider, you're shoved into a phone tree that takes you 15 minutes to get a response from a human being, but yet we have AI that can mimic our voices and do all these other wonderful things. I wish they'd apply it to that and help us figure it out. Does that mean we're out of time, or do we have time for one more question, Lee? We have time for one more question. Does anybody out there have a question?
Back there.
Oh, there's one in the back
One in the back. All right.
and one in the front.
Well, we got time for one more, and she's first. Sorry.
So arm wrestle.
Yeah.
Builders Association. My name is Dana Heineman Allen. I'm actually running for Clackamas County Commissioner, and there is a lot of discussion out there on the urban growth boundary and competing interests on doing it in a strategic fashion. Have you discussed, and the systems development charges are out of hand, of course it gets delivered onto the consumer. So as far as the urban growth boundary, have you presented to the governor the biggest issue is the infrastructure, and that's where people in different groups that are competing in this conversation. Have you proposed that she has some strategic release of areas to where it doesn't have to be in a complete expansion, but incremental expansion on areas and make sure that infrastructure is in place?
I believe we have. I don't want to commit fully on that, but I believe we have. I know that that was part of the panel discussion this last session. I don't know the outcomes of it. I wasn't in the room. I know that we also met with Metro on the February 22nd at our board meeting, and they came in and gave the whole layout. I was able to talk with one of the commissioners afterwards on that. They seem to be more committed to maybe upping their I think it's a 2-year cycle, trying to up that cycle a little bit. I believe they're getting a little pressure from the governor on that. I can't confirm, but that's my feeling. It's tough. I mean, we've got Tigard just went in what was it? No, not Tigard. King City.
King City.
King City. I mean, they pushed to get it, pushed the UGB, and they got removed from office. So it's like we're running into obstacles everywhere we go. But I agree there needs to be a better strategy on it. I don't know what that answer is. Love to talk to you about it, though.
Great. Okay, I think we're out of time, right, Lee? So thank you. Let's hear it for our panelists. Great conversation. Thank you all very much. And thank you for the opportunity to present all of that information to you. I hope it was worth your time, and I'm sure somebody's going to come up and tell us what happens next, because I don't know.
I think raffle prizes.
Raffle prize.
That's my
So
job.
don't go anywhere.
All right.
Sit
The
down.
show's about to begin.
Oh, we got to sit down.
All right.
We're done, right?
Give it up for the president's
Okay,
panel, you
I don't
guys.
think we're sitting. Thank you.
Great work. I am certainly learned a lot, informative, compelling, all of the above. And yeah, I feel just a little smarter just for breathing that same rarefied air as you guys. So round of applause once again for these guys. They have some of the best in the industry for sure. Okay, we've just got a couple more things, you guys, and then we'll turn you loose. But obviously, I think a lot of us are very encouraged by what we've learned today and what we've heard. I'm looking forward to a good year with robust activity. And now let's welcome back to the stage Jill Russell and Greg Whistler, their alter egos, Joe and Jeff.
I do want to say something, you guys. This meeting is fantastic. You guys put on quite a show. So way to go, all those in charge.
Yes, thank you, Lee and your team. We're just going to give them all a round of
Fantastic.
applause. They did a great job. And I just want to let all of you know, because we were talking about major investor stuff in the first session, and Jill raised her hand and said she was going to make her payment because of this meeting. I saw the receipt. She did it. So yay.
So come join me.
Good job. So if anybody else is still thinking about it, don't forget to click on the link. Can we get the slide back up for that? We're not going to talk about major investors again, are we? Let's talk about something else about our PAC.
The good news is for just $15, you can participate, and that goes a really long way. So just like going out for a McDonald's hamburger anymore, it's about $15. It's
Something like
ridiculous.
that. It feels like, geez,
inflation's
I mean, good
terrible.
Lord.
But
Or
just
peak pricing. They've been talking about that at some of the restaurants too. Crazy.
peak pricing?
Yeah. Surge pricing.
No.
So
for just $15, you can invest in your business and invest in advocacy at the state level. And what you heard from Ashley today and from their other panelists, there's a lot of things going on, but locally, you know that you have things that are happening here. It sounds like the UGB is a big deal here. We've got plenty of land in Klamath. Come down and build. but that's a big deal locally. At the state, we've got so many things and that we've got so many wins, so that's great. But like Greg said earlier, if you're not at the table, or
if you're not sitting at the table, you're on the menu.
We don't want to be on the menu. So $15 today, you can scan that QR code and just contribute $15 today. And that really goes a long way in supporting us, in supporting the candidates, and supporting the different, all the different legislation that's coming through.
Yeah. So who's heard the term many hands make light work? So that's what your $15 is. If it's not in your budget to be a $1,000 or more major investor, well, maybe you're just doing $15. Maybe you're doing $25 or $50. I know we had a few people that contributed in those ranges last year out of this meeting, and I'd love to have you scan the QR code or scan the code on the back of your program today for the trade show. They'll get you to the website where you can make a major investor contribution or a $15 investment. So there's options there. Just invest in your business.
And then I'm going to give you two different places. So Oregon Realtors has phenomenal information on their website. So if you go to advocacy on the Oregon Realtors website, you can see all of the bills that are happening right now, where they're at in the process, or you can watch the Advocacy Minute. Or if you go to nar.realtor/advocacy, you can see all the things that are going on at the national level and what they're really doing to protect us in our industry.
Perfect. I think we'll just turn it back over to them to do some raffles and stuff like that.
Good luck, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. I grabbed the wrong mic. Thank you, guys. You got me on the right one. All right, again, thanks to the great panel, Ashley Fordham, Jason Gooing, Gabriella Mann, Rochelle Newmeyer, the Swede, Jeremy Osterholm, and Jeff Wyron as well. I am going to, is Rod coming up to help with the raffle? I knew that. Okay, Rod, we'll get to you in just a minute. Thanks to all of you guys in the room for another incredible event. And I'm gonna turn the microphone over to our raffle team because we've got some fabulous prizes that you guys are gonna walk away with. Bring it on.